Smash and bash! Got him. Yeah! Way too easy. Yeah! Way too easy. Ow! All right, next. Yeah! Ow! Expect the best. Way too easy. Ow! Yeah! No hesitation. Yeah! Yeah!
We must press forward.
So, first off, I should explain why this video is even a thing. So, initially, I've been saving up for Lady Freya, as some of you might have known. She's going to be coming back at the end of the month, so I've been saving up since her last banner, which I believe was like back in July or something like that. It's been a long time, y'all. But I've been saving up orbs because right now my Freya is at +8, and all I need are 2 copies to make a +10 Freya. She's my favorite main villain OC in this game, so it would have just been so fitting. It would have made so much sense that at the end of this journey of 5-star exclusive +10 units, I would end off with her. It just felt right. But what I didn't see coming is the nuke that IS dropped, which is Thor. And if you guys don't know, I have been waiting for Thor for a very, very, very long time. Heck, she got a plotline in Dragalia Lost before she even came here. So I was pretty hurt when I saw that she dropped with E-Tree last month, and I would have to skip her because legendary banners and mythic banners, you have to commit to them because you never know when you're going to get the unit that you want. 8% banners are real, y'all. But in the end, I am just a man. I told myself, Salos, you're good. You have 400 orbs in the bank. You're fine, man. Just spend about 40-ish orbs, and if you don't get her, then just stop. Just stop at 40 orbs. If you don't get her, whatever happens, happens. 40 orbs in, I get 2 Dagrs. And it's worth noting that Dagr isn't just some random unit I just like, oh, let me +10 Dagr. No, Dagr is a unit that I have been working on the side for a long time now because she has been my dedicated light mythic. My 2 light mythics that I run are Freya and Dagr. So it's not just some random unit that I just like, let me +10 her today. So before this journey started, she was at +3 because I believe I did kill 1 off for attack speed push. This takes her up to +5. So I was like, okay, whatever. Dagr's +5, so once I'm done with Lady Freya, I can go on Dagr. This is fine. This is a fine outcome. A couple of days later, I get the itch again. 30 orbs, Salos. It's fine. You're good. You're still gonna be at like 300 orbs. All you need are 2 Freyas. Come on, 300 orbs is perfectly fine for 2 Freyas. And I get E-Tree. No Dagrs, no Thors, just E-Tree. The next part, I can't even justify what I was thinking. I said to myself, look, Salos, you got 2 out of 3 of the green units. Surely Thor will come if you just try a little harder. So just keep going until you get a 5-star, any 5-star. So I dropped about 90 orbs, and I get another E-Tree. No Thor, no Dagr, just E-Tree. This is when I saw how stupid I was going for this freaking Thor. I was like, no, Salos, you can't keep doing this. You've lost almost 200 orbs at this point. You have to stop, because at this rate, you are not going to have enough orbs for even 2 copies. You can't even get 1 Thor. What makes you think that this is going to be enough for 2 Freyas? So I stop. I stop myself, and I'm like, that's it. No more pulling. I'm just going to catch Thor whenever she comes back. Wait, when does she come back again? Oh my god. But despite this, I was a good boy. I waited about 2 weeks, no pulling of what kind whatsoever. I was stacking up my orbs. We even got the month changed. I was able to get a couple of the new month orbs to my stash to kind of replenish what was lost. But then I'm like, Salos, you're going to have to wait almost half a year for Thor to come back. So I did 1 YOLO summon. I did 1. In that YOLO summon, I get 3 Daggers. So now she's +8. I'm like, you know what, Salos, you're already in this rabbit hole. You've already lost your orbs. You're not going to be able to +10 Frey at this point. So I was like, you know what, screw it. Balls to the wall. This is it. We're just going to go in. We're going to go hard. So I committed. I just gave up, threw up my hands. I'm like, we're going to get Thor. And this is the crazy part. Once I just finally gave up and decided to +10 this Dagr, I get 4 Thors. I have a +3 Thor now. So I was like, okay, it's cool, Thor's coming now, but I kind of need these last 2 Daggers. So I delved into the packs a little bit, you know, the Black Friday packs. Got a lot of them, actually, more than I'm willing to admit. And that's when I got my last 2 Daggers. And here we are. Was this a good idea? No. It was not. Was I proud? Well, I am more of a knight guy myself, but Dagr has some pretty cool character development at the end of book 5, so, like I said, Dagr's always been a side project for me, so it wasn't the worst thing that could happen. She unlocks a 6th slot on Aether Raids. Plus, people like to talk about Pathfinder on defense, but I absolutely love Pathfinder on offense. Pathfinder plus Kanto is a combination that just simply should not exist. So now that you guys have a little bit of background as to why this video is even a thing, let's finally dig into the analysis of Dagr. Well, it's more of a showcase, not really unit analysis. But anyway, Dagr is a 176 BST Axe Infantry unit with super boons in both her offenses of attack and speed, with super boons in HP and defense. This means that having a one-off Dagr, you're more than likely going to have a super bane that's really going to sting. But with one merge, she can hit 180 BST fairly safely, so long as you get a boon in either her offenses, which are typically the boons you want to be taking anyway. As for the stat spread itself, 39-41 offenses are insane on an Axe unit. Axe units in Fire Emblem in general are typically slow, bulky, hard-hitting units. So to get an Axe unit built like a God Sword is actually kind of rare. This instantly sets her apart from other Axe competitions, since there are realistically not that many outside of her. Your only options are, honestly, Libra, Ninja Shamir, Raven, Linus, and Commander Anna. So considering she's a 5-star lock with her own personal skill, it's hardly fair to compare any of the free-to-play options to her, because they all can't really compete with her personal skills. They can give an offensive stat spread, and that's about it. While we're on the topic of BST and stats though, I do think that it's important to note on how mythics work in Arena, because this is honestly a question that I've had for a long time and I just could not find the answer. Just like in Aether Raids, so long as the Mythic Heroes season aligns with the current Arena season, she will gain legendary blessings as if she were blessed for that Arena season. So basically every other week, Dagr can be put into any of your Arena cores and still score optimally. I honestly didn't realize how busted Mythics were in Arena until making this, And perhaps I'm the only one who didn't really realize this, because I'm usually the last one to find out about these type of things. But I'm sure that there's at least one person out there who just was always curious, but was too afraid to ask. So for that one person out there, here you go. Now you know. Now moving on to her axe, which in my opinion is what defines Dagr as a unit. It's actually pretty amazing. So her legendary weapon is basically Chaos Ragnar. And if any of you guys have ever fought a Fallen Ike, you know just how scary the stat stacking can get and how much it can just start to snowball once the debuffs get going. And since Dagr is more than likely going to have the highest attack and speed on your team, she's going to be the prime target for a lot of chill skills. She'll be hit by the Shrines and Aether Rage. She'll more likely get hit by Gunthara's new Chilling Seal. What I'm saying is, Dagr is more than likely going to get hit by some type of debuff in Fae if you're playing Fae in 2021. So, once that happens, Dagr's stat spreads just explode. But what makes Dagr really stand out is Pathfinder. This effect means that if any unit moves through Dagr, the effect space Dagr is standing on is not factored into the acting unit's movement count. Lately, I've been having a lot of fun with Trace Skills and Kanto, so Dagr really is able to help me take advantage of those playstyles in particular to new heights. I'm telling you, bro, having a 4 movement cavalry unit like Reagan and just nuke something and be able to just instantly retreat, oh my gosh, that's just something that should not be a thing. The first build you saw her with in the opening montage is my personal favorite set on her. I feel like you don't really need to run her like her sister, because with her sister, you're not controlling her. She's more of something for someone to fight. But in this case, you have full control over your team. So I feel like all you need to do is just make sure that you have your far save tank relatively close to Dagr, and it's basically as if she had distant counter. Again, this isn't really a unit review in a sense. This is more of just a showcase on how I have chosen to use Dagr. So these are just the builds that I personally use, and I just want to showcase them. And I do understand that having a far save tank is not a luxury that everyone has, because I was a part of that crowd for a very long time until Halloween Ileana came out as a Forma. I instantly grabbed that because I've not had the luxury of a far save tank until that Hall of Forms happened. But I'm telling you, if you just can look past running distant counter on her and trying to turn her into not, Dagr really turns into a delete button in a lot of situations, as you guys saw. Surge Barrel is something that Dagr in particular really likes, because you can focus on running your damaging specials like Draconic Aura, Moonbow, Ruptured Sky, and not have to compensate by running something like Noontime or Soul, so that she doesn't just instantly is only good for one fight. She still has that sustain that most tanks and God Swords like to have these days, so you're not really missing much on anything. When you build her like this is what people talk about when they say that speed creep in Fae is pretty atrocious. It's more likely it's the argument people like to use when building old Gen 1 or Gen 2 heroes. Whenever they talk about that new heroes can reach like 60 or 70 speed easy, these are the units that they're talking about. So Dagr is like at the top of the speed chain line. Like, there are very few units that can outspeed Dagr if you just really invest into her offenses. The second build is more of the God Sword role in Axe form, or aka how Not is run on defensive teams. I feel like I'm comparing Dagr to Not a lot in this video, but they are very similar in a lot of ways. So yeah, you kind of can't, they are pretty interchangeable on how you run them, so I guess that's why. When you really commit to her, whether it's through Flowers, Summoner's Report, or just merges like how I've done, Dagr actually has some pretty solid defenses, and that does make her a really good damage reduction tank. The only thing that's really unfortunate is that you have to run a damage reduction skill instead of her personal skill, Sun Twin Wing. Which, again, Moon Twin Wing, which her sister has damage reduction in it, on top of the low speed defense 4 effect on it, which is why people kind of consider not to be the supreme damage reduction tank, but Dagr can still do it as well. It's really more of just what you personally value more, whether you value damage reduction or null follow-up, but you have to keep in mind that because she's a light hero, she will be fighting Bremimond a lot, who has an auto follow-up condition. Null follow-up is kind of situational outside of those few situations like Dual Leaf and, like I said, Bremimond, but more than likely you can get away with not running it if you're using her as a distant counter tank. I know a lot of you guys are going to be scratching your heads because you see Desperation with the healing special, but that's just how I personally like to run Dagr. I like to just use her to tank on the enemy phase, go in on the player phase, and then rinse and repeat. It's pretty much just a nice little cycle that I found that it gives her some nice dual phase potential, but I understand how that can be a turnoff to some people. So if you'd rather just run Ruptured Sky or Moonbow on her, that's perfectly valid. I just don't have the fodder for any other damage reduction skills, and like I said, Frenzy is my personal favorite anyway, so it doesn't bother me as much. All in all, I'm kind of sad that I had a weak PP and it cost me my +10 Freya, but this isn't a bad outcome either. I'm not just trying to cope with my bad decisions. I genuinely am happy that I was able to complete Dagr, because like I said, she was a side project for me anyway. So being able to end with her is pretty good. And I've kind of warmed up to her because of her character development at the end of Book 5. I really like how they handled the death of my wife. Nott will always have my heart as my favorite of the two sisters, especially since she shares a voice actress with the magnificent Lady An. But I've really grown to appreciate Dagr as well. And I know a lot of you guys feel the same way because Dagr was instantly the fan favorite, and for good reason. But I'm really looking forward to using her in Aether raids a lot more in 2022 and incorporating her into a lot of my arena teams. This has been your boy Salos, and I'm signing out. I'll catch you guys next time.